Greetings, students of 111 ethnography. Um, I want to describe our final project. This is worth 20% of the grade. It's as big as all of the discussions throughout the whole semester. You know, those each module, the discussion, the flip grade, or the written ones. All total, those things are worth 20. Well, this last bit is worth 20 as well. It is the coding activity. It's the second last thing you do in an ethnographic research project. The last thing you do actually is publish it, you know, and we're skipping that module this semester. We can blame COVID on that. You're lucky you have one module less of reading and assignments, but actually kind of two, because normally I have a different final exam, but this time I'm doing the coding module as the final exam. So, you know, anyway, it's been a shitty semester in terms of everybody's been overworked and tired and depressed and blah. So, you know, that's okay. Anyway, what we're doing today is I want to describe the coding activity. Now, in the module that I've just launched, there is a great deal of information, way more than you need, okay? So don't think that because I have all of this optional material there that you need to look at any of it, okay? I warn you, I have been teaching qualitative methodology to doctoral students for 15 years and undergrads, you know, for 17 years. And so I just want to share everything with you because, you know, some of you might want some of these things. But in truth, coding is extremely simple, even though that I have lots and lots of explanations of them. Basically, it's looking at a document and circling some words that are meaningful, you know, that really typify the sentence, the paragraph, the idea that the subject was trying to get at. And you can circle the word, or what I use is brackets, those squared things, because I always do it in a typed document. So you can bracket the words, you know, that are the code for the sentence, as it were, or the paragraph. If there isn't a word in there that really hits it, then invent a word. You know, loneliness. I mean, we're talking about belonging, so belonging is going to be a code. You know, loneliness. The two ends of belonging. Either I feel a high sense of belonging or I feel a high sense of, well, alienation. That's what I would call it. So you could say alienation is a code, belonging is another code, or something, you know. Pro-belonging, negative belonging, I don't know, whatever you like. But that's the point. You're making sense of the data the way you wish to with your codes. Either you invent them and put them in brackets right in the document, or you just bracket a word, you know, that's already in there. It doesn't really matter which one. They're both totally good approaches. The other thing you'll do with your transcript, once you have your transcript done, is write memos, comments. It's called memoing, and there's a lot of readings about coding and memoing, okay? When you're reading through there, you might reflect on something. You know, when she said that, I really felt she was kind of embarrassed by saying it, you know? Well, shit, put that in a bracket. Anything in the brackets is your words, not the author's words. And load up the transcript with bracketed comments or codes, either one, you know? Because when I see those, that's what I want to see when I come in. Either the transcript, or if you didn't write a transcript, you wrote a summary, then I want, you know, the thorough summary. And then I want your bracketed comments and codes. You know, and that's for the main document, that's all I really need, you know? But the process, the goal of this project, not the interview, you did that already, hopefully. But now it's the final coding and write-up, okay? And you still got like 10 days until the 17th. I frankly have a few more days until grades are due, so if you're really burning for an extension and all that, very possible. Also an incomplete. I'm totally okay with giving incompletes if you got 60% done. If you don't, please call me so we can talk. Don't let this just hang and turn into a W, you know. And if you know anybody out there, please grab them and tell them to connect with me about this. I'm extremely understanding, but I do need to hear from, you know, somebody. I'm just opening my computer again so I can read my notes. But anyway, this coding assignment is you look at the transcript of the interview and you code it. Okay, you might have 500 or 1,000 words of what they said. You want to summarize those down to 15 words, codes. The comments you might write when you're reading through there could be also helpful because you have to do a brief write-up of the whole paper. So any comments you write when you're reading through the transcript, just notes to yourself, comments to yourself like, wow, did he really say that? Holy crap. That shocked me. Well, that's good data. The subject had good data because they said something. You had good data because you were natively receiving it and you felt some human emotion. Write it down. You and I are the only one who's going to see those comments, so you can write anything like, God, I think he was hitting on me, or whatever. Anyway, so you look at the document and you write codes and memos, throughout the document, right in the document itself. Like I said, as long as it's bracketed, it's easy to distinguish which is which. Some people actually split the page in two, on the left-hand side, you have all the interview notes. On the right-hand side, you have all your comments and codes. You can do that if you want, but frankly, it's a pain in the ass. In terms of how you do that on an actual Word document, it's really clunky, especially if you have one box on the right-hand side that's 50 lines long, and you only write a comment on the first line, and then you got to bracket all the way down to the 25th line to write another comment. See what I mean? So, frankly, the easiest, smoothest way to do it is to write brackets within the text itself. So as a sentence is going along, and then boom, there's a bracket, and it's either a code that you've added, or a bracketed word that's already there that you made a code, or it's a comment. You write a whole sentence, you write a whole paragraph, you write a whole sentence, or whatever. So that's the point with that. You take the transcript and you code and comment, or code and memo it. All right. Then the next step after. So for this module, there's just a bunch of helpful aids on coding. You don't have to read any of these things if you don't want, okay? The course is over. All you need to do is submit a final paper. So if that means you're going to skip all the readings and cool videos that I have for you to help you learn about coding, I don't care, it's too bad. They're nice, and I should have had them for you earlier, but, whatever. But I do need you to code your interview, and write it up. So some of those readings, especially there's two little videos that are nice. The Saldana reading is nice. If you don't want to read it, one of my doctoral students actually did a nice little video, the Saldana summary. And she's really great. She just got a tenure track job in Oregon. I forget her name, but great student. So just watch her video if you don't want to read the Saldana article. That's fine too. That'll save you a bunch of time. Then I have 3 more pages that all say optional, optional, optional. And honestly, if this stuff is freaking you out, skip all of that. Don't even look at it, Keep it for later if you're interested in this stuff. And there's some coding practice pages as well from a nice site, that you just go there and test it out, what coding is. But again, you can skip all that if you think you know what you're doing. So, like I said, for the final project, the activity, I call it, in Module 11. So Module 11 is really the final exam, final project, And at the end of it, there's an assignment. That assignment is your final project, or final exam, whatever you want to call it. That thing that you submit to me is worth 20%. That's the only thing that I'm grading on, is the thing you submit. And what the thing is there's 3 steps on there. First, take your interview and code it. You might ask, what do you mean code it? Well, that's all the readings. No, I gave some explanations. Then the second thing you do is make me a list of your codes. Some people call it a code book. Basically, that's just an editorial simplicity for me. So you can, add the codes. So you have your transcript, and then you put the codes, on the top of the transcript. So the Word document might look like something like that. The first thing is the list of codes. Then there's the transcript of the interview. Actually, you could put those at the end, because then I want you to write a brief 4 to 6 typed pages, I'm saying. Frankly, you can go way over that if you need to. And that's not including the transcript, That's why I was saying the codes and the transcript can go at the end of this document. But I want you to write new, 4 to 6 pages on the methodology description and a process reflection. What I mean by that is 2 to 3 pages on the methodology. What did you do and why? That's what methodology is. Your technique, interviewing, and you don't have to list any readings. You could if you wanted from last module. Module 10 has all the readings you would list. If this was a research project, you'd say, I'm interviewing because, and then you cite, some of the readings you did on, Bailey says it's a good thing to interview or whatever. But I'm more looking for something just self-reflective. Our class project, we were interested in investigating belonging at Fresno State. So I interviewed people about belonging at Fresno State, with a standard set of questions, and I deviated from it a little, blah, blah, blah. And I put some questions out there that might help you. Who was interviewed? How you found them? Were they freaked out or whatever? How you located them. Was it someone in class? Was it a friend? All of that stuff, it's typically a convenient sample. You just knew this person, and that's how you got them. All right. How it felt to interview them. So there's a personal reflection. I was very awkward and self-conscious because I hate talking to other people or whatever it is. And any procedural comments, that you had, like just you're commenting on the interview process itself. Like, I really thought it was awkward that I had to keep telling them to say more and more, and I felt self-conscious about that, and then they started feeling offended when I did it, and blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is good, helpful stuff too, and it's easy to write pages of that because it's not a research paper. It's more like what I did on my summer vacation, right? The second part of it might take a little more work, and this is where from the last assignment on the interview, I wanted you to think like an anthropologist about belonging at Fresno State. All right. For that one, the reflection portion, comment on the subject of belonging at Fresno State. Right, that you comment on it. Comment on the observations of your subject. You can comment on what they said in general, because now you've coded it. Coding means summarizing, right? You take all of their words and you summarize it into, this guy hates Fresno State because his girlfriend dumped him and he just hates his major. Boom, that's the main thematic code, and all your little things supported, all your separate codes. And then, so you're commenting on the observations of the subject who it interviewed, but you're also commenting on your own, okay? Every one of us, all of you and me, are people who feel we have varying feelings about belonging at Fresno State. I don't feel I belong here. I do feel I belong here, I've been alienated by my friends in class or whatever. All that stuff is going on for you as well as them. And so all of it is game, Some ethnographies are extremely biographical, self-biographical. I went to Africa to discover myself, And that's good. It's all good. It's all welcome. 2 to 3 pages for that. So the methodology, the what I did, and the reflection, what it meant or whatever. Both of those, 2 pages each or something. And again, you can write a lot more if you're quick at writing. And put all of that on one document, one Word document or a Google document or whatever, and then submit that into the assignment page. And then you're done. All right.